Hello and welcome. It's Jennifer McGuire and I hope that you're having a good week. Today's video is a split coloring technique. I've done variations of this in the past and I will link to them here so you can check it out. But basically you're creating two pieces and you're going to end up with two cards. This is a great way to stretch your stamps and get a completely different look, and it's really fun to do. Now I'm using a new stamp set from W+9, and if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll show you the other new products they have in this release. It's a small but really good one. Okay, so the stamp set that I'm using here is called Kind Soul. It has this really large floral image and then some great sentiments. The nice thing about this large floral image is you can use it so many ways on a card. You can use it diagonally because it is longer. You can use it horizontally, vertically, or just kind of use part of it in the corner of a card. I like stamps that give you many ways to use it, and because this is large, there are lots of things that you can do. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp this onto some peach colored cardstock. This cardstock is from Gina K. I believe it's called Peach Bellini. I'll link to it below. And I'm putting it in my MISTI and I'm going to stamp it with Versamark ink on one edge of the cardstock. And then I will clear heat emboss that. Now, the reason I'm using my MISTI is just because it saved time. You can use an acrylic block for this by all means. If you don't have an acrylic block big enough for this, you can use a clear plastic plate as an acrylic block and it would work just fine. Okay, so I went ahead and heat set that so I have a nice tone-on-tone piece right along that edge. Now I'm going to do the same stamping onto a piece of white cardstock. Both of these pieces are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This white cardstock happens to be smooth Bristol. I just have been using that a lot lately and really like it. Now I'm stamping this with a Copic friendly ink. This is Hero Arts Intense Black ink, and I'm going to stamp it in the same position as I did with that peach colored piece. So I have them kind of both positioned on the edge of the card as you see here. Okay, so now I have the two. I'm going to hold them together and I'm going to cut them in the same place. It's like about 1 inch from the bottom edge. This will allow me to swap the pieces and match them to the opposite part. So on one of them I'll have the white on the top and the peach on the bottom, and the other one will have peach on the top and white on the bottom. So I'll end up with two cards from this, and I'm going to do the coloring on each of them the same way. I could have left the two pieces together and colored all at once and then cut it, but to be honest with you, I didn't think of it at the time. Now I did some Copic coloring on this, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not fancy with Copic coloring. I'm not the best at it. I just do kind of what works for me, and that just works. If you want to see some coloring done by an expert, I highly recommend Kathy Racoosin's channel. I'll link to that here. I will share the colors that I used here. I just did basic coloring where I did the darker colors towards the center and went lighter on the outside edge. For me, when I color, I put down the light first, then the medium and the dark, and then I go back and do some more medium and some more light to blend it all together. Now for this technique, you could do any coloring medium that you like. You could do watercolor here, you could do colored pencils. Whatever is kind of in your comfort zone is what will work best. And here's a tip for you. If you see like a big floral image like this and you're unsure how to do the coloring or shading, I encourage you to just Google the name of the stamp set, and I bet lots of great examples will pop up for you that you can kind of follow. And W+9 does have an incredible blog, so you can also go there for some coloring ideas. Okay, so I went in with the colorless blender and highlighted a few of the areas, and I finished the coloring on both of the pieces. So next I want to do that sentiment strip that divides the colored area and the monochromatic area. And for that I wanted to use the You Have a Kind and Beautiful Soul stamped image that's in that same W+9 stamp set. It's a stacked sentiment, so there's 2 lines of words. So what I did is I cut between the 2 lines so that I could have a long sentiment instead. You could keep them as they were and not cut them apart and just ink up the top line and stamp that first and then clean it and stamp the bottom line next to it. But I found this to be easier since I want to do a few. So I mounted them next to each other on this long Gina K Designs acrylic block. I really like this block because it has measuring marks on it and a straight line to line things up. It's really fantastic and it's super long. I'll link to that. I just got it and I'm really happy with it. So I stamped that right along the edge of some black cardstock with some Versamark ink, added some white embossing powder and heat set it. And I did a little strip like that for both of the cards. Now I'm going to fit all these pieces up against each other onto a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch white note card. So I'm going to put the colored piece on the bottom. Next, I'm going to put the sentiment strip. But since we're putting that sentiment strip between them, what's going to happen if I came and added my monochromatic piece right up against this is our design won't be continuous. It'll be like split and separated because we put that black strip in there. So see how it doesn't really line up? I want it to look continuous between the monochromatic piece and the colored piece. So I need to cut a strip off of this that's the same height of that black strip, so about 1/4 inch. And now I can glue it together and see how it looks continuous between the peach piece and the colored piece. Now I didn't have all my pieces perfectly cut, so I'm just trimming a little off the side of the note card. And there we have our note card finished. And all I need to do is add the Hello die cut. So I use this W+9 Hello die. It's an older one, and I die cut it from some gold cardstock. So it's kind of like a mirror gold. I'm putting some liquid adhesive on the back of it and adding it to kind of hang off over that little sentiment strip. Now, what would have been smart was to use stick-it adhesive on the back of this gold paper before I die cut it, but I didn't think about it, so that's why I used the liquid adhesive. Now, I did decide to go ahead and flatten out that gold cardstock. Sometimes when you die cut cardstock, it gets little bumps from the little holes in the die. So what I do is I use my bone folder to smooth it out and gives it a nice smooth look. I decided to leave this as is and not add any embellishments, and instead I did just some tiny little white dots with a white gel pen. Now the other card I created the exact same way, but it has the monochromatic piece on the bottom and the coloring on the top. And I also put the Hello die cut off to the left-hand side instead. But here you can see that continuous look between the peach piece and the colored piece. It's just a fun way to get a completely different looking card. And the nice thing is you kind of get 2 for 1. Now there was another sentiment that says, I'm proud to call you my friend, in that same stamp set. So I decided to stamp that on the inside using W+9 Sweet Nectar dye ink. This is one of my favorite colors of all time. So I stamped it in the center of both of the cards. And then I also used my large floral stamp, the W+9 floral stamp, to stamp on the envelope flap. So I'm going to use that same Sweet Nectar dye ink to stamp right across the back of the envelope. I could have done this on the edge or on the front or whatever, but I decided to do it right along that flap. So there you can see the final card design. I like that this is a 2 for 1 deal, and it really saves you time on coloring because you color one image and it ends up on 2 cards. And as I mentioned, I have done variations of this in the past, so be sure to check out those videos that I linked to. Now before we go, I wanted to show you a close look at a few of the other new products that W+9 just released. They are beautiful. I think they do a great job with florals, and that's what this release has. This is the Petunia Builder stamp set. Now, I am a big fan of layering stamp sets, and yes, sometimes they can be tricky to figure out how they layer together, but this one's pretty obvious, and you can create the most beautiful looking petunias. Now, this card was sent to me by my friend. She is the owner and artist over at W+9. She said I could share this with you. I just thought it was gorgeous. She used the same sentiment that I used earlier there in the center, and then she did the Petunia Builder stamp set for the background, and look how gorgeous that is with the soft W+9 dye ink colors. What I would like to do is create a card like this and have that final layer, that darkest color of ink in the center, have that be gold foiled. So I would just clear heat emboss it, put some foil on it, and run it through my laminator, and then you'd have some gold accents in the center. I'll link to a video that shares a technique similar to that. So I think you could do a lot of fun techniques with the layering that's in this stamp set. And of course, there are coordinating dies available for it. So next we have the Modern Petunias stamp set. Now this is petunias again, but the outlines of them. So if you like to color, this one would be a good option for you. Now you could use it in combination with the Petunia Builder stamp set that I just shared you, the one on the left there that's stamp layering. You can use those together and create an incredible background or just a focal point on a card. Now the nice thing about the Petunia stamp set on the right is the images are very simple. So you could use that for a no-line coloring technique. In fact, I know Dawn over at W+9 has done some great cards showing that, so I'll link over to her blog. But I like that there are so many images here that can be built together to create like a bunch with the leaves coming out and do some really simple yet beautiful coloring. And of course, there are coordinating dies available for this set also. Now there are a couple more playful stamps in this release also. This is the big top background. I'm a big fan of sunshine images or rays because it's a great way to bring your attention to a focal point on a card. Nice thing about this one is it's designed so you can stamp it once on the top of your card, flip it over and stamp it once on the bottom of the card, and it'll line up perfectly to get the nice rays coming out from the center. You can also just use it off to the side or just on the top or bottom of the card. Next, we have the adorable Big Deal stamp set. Now these little animals are perfect for stacking on top of each other to create a little pyramid of animals. And I really like the it's your birthday and you're kind of a big deal sentiment on there. You can also stamp the little things in each of the animals' hands, and you could team this up with other stamp sets that you may have. I like that the images are simple, so you can do some basic coloring, and my kids are going to love this set too. So there you have a look at the newest products from W+9. I've always been a big fan of theirs, and this release was really fun. Okay, if you're interested in the products, I always have them in the YouTube description below, but go over to my blog. I'll have much more information there, along with the promised links that I mentioned throughout the video. In the middle are a couple more videos that are related that you might find helpful. If you haven't done so yet, please hit subscribe so you can catch future videos, and I hope you have a great week.